Ready, hot!
What's it been like since, I mean, it's probably been a little bit of a whirlwind. Can you just talk about the process of getting here and kind of living out of a suitcase? Or
Coaches are used to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been outstanding getting back here, being in this town and being around these people, the fans. It's been awesome. I've really enjoyed myself this, 48 hours I guess it's been since I've been here, and I look forward to many, many more days like this, especially when I get my family here.
How long were you in Oklahoma City for when you were born here, right?
Yeah, I left right after first grade.
Okay.
So I think I was about 6, maybe, 6 years old or something like that. So it's close to 7 years. And then my mom went back to Texas. She originally flew me to Houston, and we lived there for a few years, and then we moved to Irving.
Are you getting used to that crimson yet?
I'm used to it. I mean, I got it on. I got 2 interviews, and I've been in crimson both times, so I'm used to it. I love it.
They didn't make you throw the burnt orange away.
They did. I threw it all the way when I got here. You didn't know that?
Some guys like to hide it.
Well, they told me to burn it, but, there were some bonfire issues going on, way back in the day, so we didn't want to go there.
you just kind of, after you got hired, talking to people in Auburn about your time there, they just raved about you as a special teams coach. Can you talk about, what how you emphasize that and why why you've had so much success there?
Well, first of all, I'm very blessed, to be, at a program like that, and to be able to come to a program like this it's just a phenomenal blessing, and it's all about the players. I'd like to sit here and say that, I did something different from Iowa State to, Utah or Arizona or wherever I've coached special teams. But the fact of the matter is, I probably became a little bit better coach, but also got a little bit better players, and I'm looking forward to that same type of jump here when I get a chance to work with these athletes, because I know what kind of players OU has.
You've coached in a lot of places. What does having that OU on your shirt give you a chance to sell now?
Recruiting. I mean, you walk in with this OU on your chest, and you're immediately in everybody's top 2 or 3. So it means something. It makes a difference. And we're big brother now. And I've been at places and where your little brother, as some people say, or you're equal or whatever. However, some people look at it. But it's this is my first time at a place where you are you're definitely the big dog on the street, and everybody knows it.
Do you learn a lot more about recruiting being in the SEC, especially in a place like Auburn?
Well, recruiting is definitely a little different deal. It's a lot faster, I think, as a whole in the SEC. And I think there's some teams in this league that are trying to emulate that, but at the same time, it's not necessarily always good. I mean, and we're bouncing ideas around, and we got a new fresh approach to things in our staff room now, and we're trying to come up with what works best for us, because sometimes when you recruit really fast, you don't get to know the player as well as you do as if you wait a little bit of time. And that's what I've always admired about OU from afar. I felt like the staff here, where some of the schools have done a good job of jumping in early on guys and maybe signing this 5-star or whatever, I felt like OU took their time, got to know the kids, and got good quality football players, and have done a phenomenal job since Coach Stoops has been here.
But when you say you're trying to change things, it's maybe not having as much chance to take that time and having to move that calendar up a little bit.
Well, I think there's a fine line in everything you do, and we're still tossing some ideas around as to what we're going to do as a staff, but I think it's a fine line. I think too soon, when you got your whole class done before you jump into their senior year. I mean, there's good and bad with that. Sometimes you got a player that's not really even the best player at that position. So I think, we're going to find a happy medium, and those type of questions you need to ask Coach Stoops, not necessarily, the tight end coach, I've been here for less than 48 hours. So, I'm just doing what I do,
The tight end position last year kind of struggled. What do you see in the guys you got coming back?
They struggled?
A little bit.
Man, I didn't know that.
Well, they got to play the struggle.
They got to play the struggle? Yeah. Okay. So how do you say they struggled? I mean, they're just,
they struggled to play.
0 for 1.
They struggled to play.
How about that? Well, you know what? OU's had a number of great players at the tight end position throughout the course of the years. And I think OU fans and the communities around here should expect to see that here again in the near future.
Once you are in that top 2 or 3, how do you finish one?
How do you finish one? You know, one of my friends used to say all the time, recruiting is like shaving. If you don't do it every day, it'll show. So you got to every day you got to pound it and pound it and pound it. You got to establish relationships with not only the kid but whoever the kid is close to. And if you do that and you build the relationships, I think at the end of the day you'll come out on top on more than you will on the bottom of it.
Will you have Taylor McNamara available at the start of spring, or is his shoulder surgery still?
Well, I don't talk about, whatever injuries or whatever. I don't know what's going on with the players. That's reserved to Coach Stoops. I'm just going to go in there and coach ball with whoever's in the room.
Coach, Gary Anderson wasn't pleased with you leaving. He made some interesting comments this week. Do you have any reaction or thoughts on what he said?
Well, first and foremost, you guys all know that OU is a phenomenal place. I mean, I'm looking around these facilities and the people that are here, the community, the fans, and all that. And Wisconsin was a wonderful place too. It's kind of like I told Coach Anderson before I accepted the job. I said, Coach, there's one main reason why I left here, and it's family. And a real brief story, right before I took the Wisconsin job, I had an aunt that probably about 15, 20 minutes from here, she got hit by a truck walking back to a casino. And my mom called me bawling, I'm in Auburn, Alabama, and my mom had no way of getting from Texas to see her sister in Oklahoma. And I told Gary at the time, I said, hey, look, it's about family. And when I heard that, I did all I could financially for my mother to get her there, but I hadn't even seen my aunt, And from what I understand, she's doing better now, but she's paralyzed, and, she's close to 60. She got hit in an intersection, walking in the crosswalk, and it just floored me, So when you have opportunities to get back close to home and be near family, I think that most of us, most men, when you're the patriarch of your family, like I am apparently, because I'm one of the only guys that ever has even graduated from college, especially men coming from a rough neighborhood. So I think that when you have opportunities to be around there for your family, I think that you got to choose family every time, because I live by that creed. It's my faith. I put God first. It's my family, and then it's football.
Did it hurt you that Anderson didn't really understand that?
No. Whatever Coach A, thinks, and he's got to run his program. He's got to do what's best for him in Wisconsin. But again, it's faith, family, and football, and I think that most people understand that.
How much family do you have in Oklahoma? I know you moved when you were pretty young.
All of my mother's siblings and my cousins, they all live there. When I left, this is a funny story. When I left when I was, six and a half, whatever it was, going into the second grade. Now I guess I just graduated from the first grade. Did you graduate from the first grade? No. I guess I just completed the first grade, and I remember leaving like the only family system I ever knew, because it was me and my mom, and I didn't have a dad there at the time for me, and I was crushed, because that's everybody I ever knew. We all went to church together every Sunday. I sang in a choir when I was a little kid. My cousin was a director. It's like everything I ever knew was right there, and it crushed me, but it ended up being better for me in the long run, because it got me out of that environment and moved me into the suburbs where I grew up. So, I got a lot of family there, but at the end of the day, it worked out for me pretty good. I'm here in front of you guys now, right?
Did you have a chance to play at Oklahoma?
You know what? Gosh, I'm so old now. That was a long time ago. I tell people, OU didn't really recruit me, I took recruiting trips to Florida, obviously Texas Tech, all the schools in Texas recruited me, but I don't think OU recruited me. I don't remember them being in the picture at the time. So
Is that going to be weird, standing on the other sideline in that game?
No, it's not going to be weird at all. Have you seen my little 5-year-old daughter? She is so cute, So every time I look at her and she gives me a big old hug and kiss, that's how I feed my family. So when I look at that little girl, and I'm looking across that field, all I'm thinking about is this is how I feed Jordan, So it's going to be real easy for me to go out there and try to beat him down a little bit. So it's not going to be hard. I got my own motivation.
What are the attributes good special teams players generally have?
Speed, enthusiasm, energy. I like guys that want to play. Sometimes you look for, I even look at kids that are, walk-ons, that come on the team that really want to, for example, run down the kickoff. Not everybody wants to do that, So you look for a guy that has that not only that want to, but also has the ability. And, when you find that mix of guys, that has energy, ability, and enthusiasm and all those things, and then put them in the right places, I think that you can come up with something pretty special.
Seems like you've been able to evaluate and sign some pretty impressive kickers the last 4 years. Is that something you take a lot of pride in?
It is because it makes all of our jobs a lot easier. And when the fans see the difference, and I don't know what we have here, what we don't, and all that, but when you get a great specialist, like I recruited an All-American punter in Stephen Clark, who's at Auburn now, and then Cody Parkey, who's at Auburn. We probably have the best combination of kicker-punter in the country there, I believe, obviously. And when you have a really good kicker and punter, it makes everybody's job a lot easier. When they're kicking touchbacks whenever you want to, now your kickoff coverage team is not an issue. Or when you're punting the ball and you're having 5-second hang time and it's going about 40 yards, plus. Now your punt team is sitting there, they're twiddling their thumbs, waiting on the ball to come down. The guy's sitting up there looking around like, I got everybody around me. So that's why you go, like we did at Auburn last year. That's why you go and you only give up 4 yards, the whole year. Because, we put speed on the team and you get a punter that puts the ball in the right place and with the right height.
Bob, it's kind of shaken out, over the last year. But did Bob mention to you at one time he had 5 guys on scholarship at kicker?
No, he didn't.
A few years ago?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, I haven't heard that at all.
You ought to ask him about it.
No, I'm not going to.
It might be a sore subject still.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from that one. That doesn't even sound right, so I'm going to stay away from that one. Thanks for trying to set me up. I appreciate that. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. So
I was just curious.
I see that already. Okay.
I was just curious if he said we don't want that to happen again. So.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about that. If I'm in charge of that here, I'll take full responsibility for every aspect of the game.
Do you have any history with Bob?
You know what? I do not. I know some guys on the staff, whether through recruiting, and actually Bobby Jack, Wright, was probably a big part in getting me here. When I went to Texas, he was a coach there, so he knew me from back in the day. I actually GA'd under them, so I've been knowing him for a long, long time. And he knew me when I had snot on my nose, and when I didn't know how to put one foot in front of the other. So that's a long time. So that's probably my biggest tie to Coach Dupes.
Were you surprised at the opportunity?
I'm always surprised at the opportunity. When you look, especially at a place like this, like I said, guys, I'm overwhelmed. Just with just the fans, this town, these people. You look at how many guys actually want this job. Think about it. You guys don't have any idea, but I have a head coaching friend. A couple of them, when they first got their head coaching job, he said, "Jay, I got 500 text messages in one day." I don't know what 500 text messages feel like. If I have 500 text messages, you guys ought to check my phone because it's not my number. So when you look at that and you think about how many people that we actually know, and then for it to come all the way down to me at the end of the day, no matter how it got here, when it comes all the way down to me, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. That's a God thing, in my opinion. So I feel privileged. I feel very blessed, and I look forward to taking advantage of the opportunity.
You come from the SEC. The SEC is dominated college football the last 6, 7, 8 years. How does a school like in Oklahoma break through and get to that level? Because no one's been able to in recent years.
Well, I think they got a nice run going on right now. But, when you say how does a school like Oklahoma, this is OU. And, you look on these walls. I'm looking back there right now, and I can count 7 national championships right there. So you ask me, how does a school like OU do it? There's the proof is in the pudding right there. They've done it. The SEC didn't just, grow all of a sudden and turn up, out of nowhere. It's been there for years. And this place has the ability to do something special like that. And we're going to do it again.
A lot of the other new coaches we've talked to kind of expressed similar sentiments that you just did about, this being a destination that people dream about. But has it been nice going through that process with Bill and and Jerry, and just kind of having you guys all here go through that together.
It is, and we're not necessarily going through it together. I'm getting my butt kicked, and those guys are all happy about right now. So I've come in at the last minute, all right, and spring ball starts this weekend. And so, it's kind of like, when you win a national championship, when it's over, you have a chance to actually enjoy it. You don't actually enjoy it when you're going through it because you got your head down and you're focused on work. And that's all we're doing right now as a staff. We got our head down. We're pounding those phones right now. We are, just trying to get, offense and defense, collectively together and getting ready to go for spring football. That's been our whole goal. I mean, it's not about sitting there and like, ooh, yeah, we're here, let's enjoy it. No, let's go to work. Let's get the job done. Let's get this team back to a national championship game. Ready, break?
All right.